After I turn my microphone, I call to order the regular meeting of Monday, April 25th. I ask that all who have not signed in, please do so. Please turn off electric phones or other electronic devices. Please conduct any private conversation in the hallway or outside. Emergency exits can be found to your right and to your left. And at this time, if you please join the town board in a salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good evening. Our town clerk is out of town. Assisting us this evening is one of our deputy town clerks, Ms. Roxanne Ammerman. And Ms. Roxanne, at this time, if you would please read the public hearing notice.
The notice of the public hearing to consider whether it is in the public's interest to approve certain improvements to the town of Victor Consolidated Sewer District within the estimated maximum cost of the project at $4,022,000, which consists of replacing Pump Station 5, Gypsum Mills, Pump Station 7, East Victor, and Pump Station 11, County Road 9, and the installation of backup generators at Pump Station 7, Pump Station 12, Pump Station 16, and Pump Station 32. Scheduled for the 25th day of April 2022 at 7 p.m., was published in the Daily Messenger newspaper on April 7th, 2022, and a copy of this public hearing notice is available for public inspection during regular business hours in the town clerk's office.
Thank you, Roxanne. At this time, I'm going to introduce Jason Ebbs from LaBelle Associates. He's going to provide an overview to the town board. I do want to take the time to thank Keith Maynard for always his due diligence, working with Jason, working with all the individuals at LaBelle Associates, as well as attending the Farmington Public Works meeting, keeping us updated. As well, I want to identify one of my colleagues from the town of Farmington, the Farmington Town Supervisor Peter Inglesby, for joining us here this evening. So, Jason, if you would, please.
Thank you, Jack. I tend to start to get excited when I do these presentations, so if I go too quickly or too fast for you, please don't hesitate to slow me down and pause me. Again, my name's Jason Ebbs with LaBelle Associates. Over the course of the next few minutes, I'll kind of go over the project that we're referring to here, go over the need for the project along with anticipated project costs. So as we mentioned earlier, it involves the replacement of PS5, PS7, Pump Station 11, along with the generator improvements at 7, 12, 16, and 17. Pump Stations 5 and 11 are about 30 years old and right at the end of their anticipated service life. Both of those pump stations have pumps located below grade, which require confined space access in order to maintain and make improvements to them. So this project will include the replacement of those pump stations, bringing them up to current code and standards, and either replacing them with above-grade suction lift pump or submersible pumps. Pump Station 7 is nearing its capacity currently. There's a couple of planned developments, including the what's the name of this? It's the Stonebrook development, which will put the pump station over its capacity. For that pump station, we're looking to make pump improvements in the capacity, as well as increasing the size of the wet well and providing an emergency backup generator. And then, as we mentioned earlier, to provide emergency pumping capabilities during the time of a power outage and get up to date with current DEC requirements, we're proposing the installation of generators at PS7, 12, 16, 17, and 13. And if there's adequate funding available, we'd also look to install a generator at PS11 as well, as that pump station has become unreliable and set to not start up when it needs to in the event of a power outage. Each of these projects were included in the town's 5-year capital improvement plan. But we think that due to the current market conditions, that by consolidating these projects as a single contract, we'll get better bidding, a better bidding environment, and see some efficiencies and savings in the project costs. So, as mentioned earlier, the total project cost, including all legal, engineering, inspection, financing, it would be about $4,022,000. So, I guess with that, do you have any questions?
Last week, for the boards, so they're aware, Rich O'Donnell met with Barbara Johnson from Bella and Keith as well, and I know they are actually, we've authorized them to start a cost analysis as step one, and possibly step two would be, if needed, the preparing the application. These would be grant applications that may assist us with reducing the overall cost of this. There's a number of the backup generators, I think, are what would qualify under this. So I think that's all I have at this point. I don't know.
I should know the answer, but the backup generators, are those nat gas or electric?
Natural gas,
That's
yep.
what I figured, yeah.
Okay. Keith, anything that you wanted to add? I know you spent a lot of time.
No, 32, I think, was the other, the generator.
Yes, sorry if I didn't mention that.
Yeah, that sounds,
10 and 13 are being done this
Mhm.
year. 32 is
Okay. Okay, at this time, I'll ask if there's any members of the public care to speak for or against this, the upgrades to the sewer system. Can we ask if there's any members of the public that care to speak for or against the upgrades to this sewer system? Okay. Hearing none, a motion to close the public hearing.
so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Roxanne, are you catching the voices? I know,
I got Dave and Ed.
okay, because Renee struggled a few weeks ago, okay? Oh,
I'll
thank you.
question it.
Jason, thank you. Okay, moving to announcements, the beginning of this meeting. I want to announce that we do have 5 employees who will be celebrating birthdays in the month of May, starting with May 2nd, one of our own Councilman Michael Guinan. Happy birthday to Sandy Baxter on the 13th, Dana Snyder on the 22nd, Kim Reese on the 27th, and Kathy Rayburn on the 29th. And please, I would be remiss, wrong if I didn't remind us all that it's Mother's Day on May 8th. All town facilities will be closed on Memorial Day, the 30th. There'll be 2 town board meetings in the month of May. There'll be Monday the 9th and Monday the 23rd. And a reminder that the Memorial Day Parade is back on for the 30th of May. More details will be announced at our May town board meetings. Approval of meeting minutes. Approval of the April 11th town board meeting minutes for your consideration, gentlemen. Looking for a motion to approve them.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Drew was the first.
I have to abstain because I wasn't here, so, thanks.
You have a first,
I
second,
Drew and Mike, yeah.
1 abstention. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Payment of bills, manifest number 8. I'll ask the clerk to introduce them. In the meantime, I'll ask Susie to put it up on the big screen. Okay, away you go.
Manifest number 8 for 2022 in the amount of $169,497.90 has been reviewed by the Victortown Board with the following accounts charged. Oh, I do.
Oh, those? Oh, I'll do those.
Okay. General
She-
townwide.
Yep,
Okay.
there you go.
General outside village, highway townwide, the lighting districts of Fishers, Brookwood Meadows, High Point, Cobblestone, Quail Ridge, Rolling Meadows, Stone Lee, and Legacy at the fairways.
Thank you. Okay, up on the screen, you'll see payment number 1 to B&M International, rent for the month of May for our courts. Number 2, payment to Bluestone Creek Development, rent for the month of May for the recreation facility. Payment to Guardian Insurance for May employee retiree dental health. Payment to LaBella Associates for the CDBG grant administration. Payment to MVP Health for healthcare for our employees and the retirees. Payment to NOCO Energy for diesel fuel for the month of March and April. Payment to RG&E, March and April Electric, and Tracy International for truck repairs and inspection. Total of the above-mentioned expenditures is $123,371.10. Total town expenditures minus these previous mentioned expenditures equals $46,126.80. Board members, any questions on this evening's abstract of claims?
I do, maybe a comment more so than a question, but we have 2 entries on the abstract for grass seed mark. One where we purchased it from Bristol's, and the other one, it said Site One Landscape Supply Holding Company or whatever. I guess my comment would be, if you combine them, would we get a better price? Or was one a better price over the other, and then why did we get it all from the same place?
We went to Bristol's, and Bristol's is only selling 25-pound bags, I think it is, and their cost has gone up. So we are now going to Site One, getting larger bags, and it is cheaper.
Okay,
So that's why there's 2 different ones.
okay,
Okay?
yeah.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, payment of bills. Privilege of the floor. Introducing Tom Zuber, Mengel, Metzger, and Barr for our 2021 audit report.
Jack, do we have a motion on the budget, or, the manifest? Did you do it first?
Did I not do
second?
that?
Yeah,
All my apologies. Motion to approve the payments thereof.
so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Zuber?
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me here tonight. And you should have received in your board packets the audited financial statements for December 31st, 2021. So I'm here to just go over a few highlights from that audit of the financial statements. And I've also included a quick executive summary of some of the key items from the audited financial statements. And, I'm pleased to report that the town continues to be in good financial position. This year's been kind of a continuation of uncertainty. When we really go back to where we started out this year, there was a lot of uncertainty going into this year, and really a lot of the different municipalities really had to make some decisions as they went into this year of uncertainty. And I think not only for this municipality, for the town of Victor, but for many other municipalities out there, the financial results really are a reflection of some of the good decisions that the town made as it relates to some of the uncertainties, right? And you will see that in the financial results at the end of this year. And like many other municipalities, what the town of Victor has done is they've looked at your financial results, right, and you have a long-term financial plan. And you've really begun to reinvest or continue to reinvest some of the financial results this year into your long-term financial plan. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through a few of the highlights. In the financial statements you received, there's a lot of good information. Certainly if they have any questions in the 63-page document, I'll be happy to react to it. But really just kind of highlighting a couple of the different items. Again, we do talk about the very positive financial condition this year, and there was really one or two things that were very unusual or very unanticipated that happened this year. One of them being sales tax, and how strong sales tax has and continues to come in for the state, and really has been a driver of some of the increases this year. And I think with the uncertainty of COVID, I don't think a lot of people really expected to see the strong return relating to sales tax. And again, that's something we continue to see. And then the other area really was in the mortgage tax, and with a lot of the refinancing and so forth, that we did see a lot of strong returns with regard to the mortgage tax. So, those were some of the key items that were very, a little bit unusual or weren't really anticipated when we really went into this current year. And again, some of the decisions that the board made as a result of, the different programs you have really do show these very positive financial results. So again, many districts, and you can see this here, this is just your general fund. And again, this is just the equity section of the general fund. And as you can see, the town ended the year with a little over $8.7 million in general fund balances, okay? And one of the items that we do see here is that you can see the town has allocated some of those dollars up into your capital reserves, right? As you know, that the different capital reserves are there to help with regard to the town's long-term financial plan. So again, taking a look at some of the dollars and reinvesting those dollars into your long-term plan, which is pretty consistent with some of the discussions you've had over the past few weeks with the town supervisor, okay? So again, overall, your general fund, you can see the revenues or the overall fund balance has gone up, and you have reinvested some of those dollars into your capital reserves, okay? The part-town general fund, again, continues to be very strong. Again, you basically broke even from last year to this year. You can see in the middle half of the page, you went from about 1.626 million to 1.659 million, okay? So you can see some consistencies from one year to the next. You can see the revenues are down slightly from the prior year, primarily because of the sales tax and how the sales tax was allocated from one year to the next, okay? And that's part of your budget process. So again, really nothing unusual or inconsistent with the town board's plan, okay? The highway fund, again, one of those funds that you continue to have very strong financial results. Again, during the year, the town did reinvest a little over $3 million into your capital reserves. I know the town board has had some very good discussions as to the long-term plan in relation to the utilization of some of those capital reserve funds. But again, you can see down at the bottom half of the page, the revenues did come in very strong, a significant increase over the prior year. And again, primarily in the sales tax area. From last year to this year, there's a little over $1.4 million increase in just the sales tax allocation of the revenues, okay? So again, continue to see that impact of the sales tax on the overall town financial position. So again, very, very positive from one year to the next as it relates to the overall financial position, okay? So those are some of the key items in the financial statements. Those are those operating statements that, you develop your budgets around. This last statement here, this really is that statement that makes the town look more like a corporation. Okay, so we include all of your capital assets, all of your infrastructure on the top half of the page. Included in the middle half of the page, you've got all of your outstanding debts, so your bonds, any unfunded pension costs or retiree health obligation. Then you come down to a net position, right? And so this is when we consolidate all of the town's information and add in all of the capital assets and debt. So the challenge is this isn't how you operate. This is really when we're trying to make you look more like a corporation. A couple of the key items really that are important in that document really end up being the impact of some of those long-term obligations. So included in that statement are things like your retiree health obligation. So that's where the town has committed to certain health insurance provisions for retirees. And you have a calculation that you hire an actuarial to come in and do and determine that that's about $4.7 million. So those are the dollars that you've committed to your employees and your retirees upon retirement. And the other big piece in here really ends up being that retiree health or the pension costs. And you can see, although the pension liability went down, the net impact of the pension liability, that bottom half, you have to kind of look at 3 or 4 different numbers. So although the liability went down, some of the deferred outflows and inflows, which are just really some accounting transactions that relate to the New York State pension system, when you net them together, it still impacts your equity about $540,000. Okay, so, you know, again, that's the New York State pension system. That's driven by the New York State Comptroller's Office. That information really is just provided to you from them. So, and it's something that you have to incorporate into your financial statements. So that's just something a little unusual. You see the liability did go down, but that really is a factor of the market, right? And the reason it went down was because at March 31st, 2021, the financial condition of the market was very strong. Well, when they measure it again, March 31st, 2022, it may present a different story. Okay, so again, this is that information that you're required to report in your financial statements. You're still fully funded with regard, or you're still current with your obligation to that system. This is just for financial reporting purposes, okay? But overall, again, very, very positive financial results. You know, the town continues to be in a good, strong financial position. You have developed and are having good conversations about long-term planning as it relates to the overall town financial position. Okay? Any questions on any of the reports?
Just a comment, on page 6, there's a typo. The first column should be 2021,
Okay, yep.
that first column. And
Yeah.
then, different question, Jack, maybe you know, or maybe Rich, the Modoc Springs, what year are we in that?
I think we just paid year 8.
Yeah, we had four, five, maybe 5 more years.
And more, okay, so, well,
Just wondered where we
we had
stand with that,
a,
thanks.
so I'm off then, because it's a 10-year obligation. I thought we had committed more into that, but,
I think we're done in 20.
is that so? Okay. Yeah, 10-year obligation, and, so,
Okay, thank you.
question, any other questions for Tom? Tom, again, always, great having your staff around. You know, it seems like things get easier as well, working with, our finance department, so, well done.
Great, thank you.
Tom.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Next privilege of the floor, Mr. Keith Maynard, our annual MS4 report.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Keith Maynard, the Stormwater Program Manager for the Town of Victor. April 1st, you should have all received a copy of the draft MS4 annual report to the DEC for the Town of Victor. The draft report is currently available on the town website until May 31st for public comment, in which time it'll be finalized. The DEC MS4 permit requirements are divided up into 6 minimum control measures. So tonight I just wanted to give an update, minimum control measure by minimum control measure. MCM1 addresses public education and outreach on the impacts of stormwater. The town last year participated in Hang Around Victor Days. We had an education booth. The town handed out over the course of the last year 729 printed materials through things like recycle center permits and new resident packets, as well as at the counter of the Planning and Building Department. I had 50 direct contacts with residents on stormwater and drainage. For MCM2, that addresses public involvement and participation. With the help of Ontario County Soil and Water, the town hosted a rain barrel workshop, and we had 27 attendees. The Highway Department posted 8 more only rain down the drain signs in developments around town. And last year, as part of this MCM, is where we're required to post the annual permit, or annual report for public comment. So that was posted during April and May of 2021. MCM3 addresses illicit discharge detection and elimination. I inspected 45 pond outfalls, which represents 20% of the town of Victor's pond outfalls. All pond outfalls have to be inspected within a 5-year period per the DEC. There was 5 recorded illicit discharges in the town last year, all of which were corrected in the same reporting year. And with the help of Ontario County Soil and Water, all the highway, parks, and code enforcement employees received illicit discharge detection training, which helps because we're all the ones that are in the field, which could identify and report these illicit discharges. MCM4 addresses the construction stormwater management. During this period, we had 32 active construction sites with SWIP coverage. Enforcing erosion and sediment control on these sites is constant year-round through inspections and constant communication with the developers. Occupies a ton of my time. 54 friendly letter emails for enforcement were sent, which resulted in 5 notices of violation and 1 stop work order. MCM 5 addresses the post-construction stormwater management. Town staff has performed drainage maintenance on 32 open channels and 23 ponds within the drainage improvement area during this period. Town staff has also completed 2 stream bank stabilization projects along Arundequoit Creek, 1 on Railroad Mills and 1 in Fishers Park. The Fishers Park stabilization was a collaborative effort between the town, the parks, Ontario County Soil and Water, and also a contractor that was paid for with FLOPA funding. For the first time, based on a town code change that was made in November 2020, the town required property owners outside of the drainage improvement area to complete a stormwater facility inspection and correct the problems that were found during the inspection. At this point, we've achieved 100% compliance with the inspection portion of that, which is great, and the majority of the maintenance has been done, some of which is still ongoing, but everyone at this point seems to be complying. So as a result of that, during this reporting period, 42 ponds in town that are outside of the drainage improvement area received maintenance. MCM 6 addresses the pollution prevention and good housekeeping for our municipal operations. With Labella's help during this reporting period, the SWIP document for 60 Rawson Road, which is Highway, Transfer Station, and Parks Maintenance, that document was completed. And that document is the stormwater pollution prevention plan for that facility. It dictates how we deal with anything pollution, stormwater, Mark's inspections, my inspections, Labella's inspections. Per DEC requirement, the town continues to hire Labella to lab test the 2 outfalls coming out of that facility before the water enters the village's sewer system, or storm system, which is also a DEC mandate. Roughly 200 miles of roads have been swept by the highway department, and 195 catch basins were inspected, and then the required maintenance and cleaning from those inspections on the catch basins was also completed. Moving forward, the DEC we're expecting the DEC to issue the new MS4 permit at some point this calendar year. They keep having dates and then moving the dates, but I think collectively everyone expects it this year. I sent the board an email regarding the updates in early January. And so with this new permit, there'll be new requirements for all MS4s, and I'm continuing to work with Labella to make sure that the town is in compliance with this new permit when it comes out. And then the Town of Victor MS4 program, it really is a team effort between the Planning and the Building Department, the Highway Department, Town Engineer, Town Attorney, and I can't thank you all enough. So are there any questions?
Well, Keith, very thorough. I did mention at the last meeting, essentially some of the things you touched upon here. Catch basins, I know, and certainly how many you've done between, with the assistance of the Highway Department. Former town board member Dave Tantillo was always focused on the ponds, but certainly what you've identified is so much more to stormwater management. There is, if you are so inclined, and Soil and Water is, Victor Hiking Trails on June 4th is holding a 30-year anniversary. They're extending booths for a continued education as well. I also want to mention that you are the Ontario Wayne Stormwater Coalition president for this year and next. Is that correct?
Yep.
So, well done. So I have no questions for you. Excellent job as always, you and the Highway Department board members.
I would just echo Supervisor Marin. Keith, it's just a few short years ago, Jack, that we put Keith in this position, and it has made a world of difference.
Thank
and
you.
I want to publicly thank you for your coordination with Mark and Labella and keeping us abreast. I mean, I think as a board, we are much more informed and in tune with what's going on. The pictures, the Dropbox stuff, I see you guys out there not sure what's going on, and then we're kept up, and it helps us because people will ask us, hey, what's going on High Street, and it's easier for us to respond, and you guys are always open and communicative, and I think the balance, and again, going to the Farmington sewer meetings and water and sewer meetings, that communication piece is really tightened up, and we appreciate it.
Thank
The
you.
one other piece that I wanted to add is, when you talk about illicit waste, it's not too late to sign up for Ontario County's hazmat at Flint, which is Saturday. They'll take anything except what kind of paint, not the oil-based, but the
Latex.
latex. They won't take latex, but they will take anything else, and I'm going down, so if you got a few cans you need to get rid of, give me a holler. I'm happy to throw them in the back of my truck, but I'm heading down Saturday morning. Because a lot of people, dump that stuff down the drains, we know, and and I think Ontario County does a real good job of advertising that. And e-waste, I think, is in the fall, in September, but.
Good, thank you. Any other?
Great job, Keith. When you
Thank you.
took this over, we gave you a big pile and said, it's all yours, do it.
Well, it truly is a team.
I know, but it's just the whole thing, the working together, but you got heaped on, and started out and brought it from where we were to where we are now. It's, with everybody's help, was a great thing, so appreciate it.
Thank you.
Keith, I do find it overly unusual that the moment you come up with severe thunderstorm warning comes across. Seems suspicious, to be honest with you. From that perspective, though, I think that the community, and certainly before becoming involved with the town, I see it from the emergency management perspective. But our taxpayers anticipate that when it rains, the water goes away, and that's far from passive. And I've gotten to learn over the last few years how opposite it is from being passive. It's a very active effort to keep our town dry and keep our properties safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
In a strange way, our developers give you compliments all the time because they call my office complaining about you. So
That's always a good thing, right?
it is, so I know you're doing your
Never
job.
did this before,
All
right?
right, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, great job, Mark.
Yes,
Much better.
Mark, please pass that along to
I
your
mean-
team.
You remember Dave on the far end there. Mark, what'd you do on, it was a constant thing that, he certainly was very attuned to the fact that he felt you weren't getting stuff done. And obviously now you are, but bigger piece is Keith is promoting you, showing what you're doing to help him to get this, because we know Keith's not out there digging those ditches, right? Well, he's helping for sure, but he's also promoting the information, as Dave, mentioned, so that we all know it about who's doing what.
What's that?
Because of Keith promoting the information and letting us know what you're doing,
Right.
you don't have those questions about stormwater and ponds and that stuff since Keith took over, right? We haven't even mentioned it,
No, you're right.
in a good way.
Yes.
Maybe we could send a copy of this report to Dave.
Yeah. But, so thank you both, your efforts definitely recognized. Obviously, it's making the town a better place, safer, a lot of different things that come into that.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
great job.
Yep. Appreciate
The
it.
return address, Mike, would be from the highway superintendent.
Oh, I think he should
All
send
set.
it. He should send it.
Well done again. Okay, privilege of the floor. Lori Jonathan Billett? I have it pronounced properly? 1186 Louise Way,
Yes.
Hold Harmless Agreement. And before you begin, young lady,
Yeah.
Keith, are you aware of any of this? Because in our packets, we didn't receive anything. We have, unless I'm wrong, we have a resolution.
Right.
So this hold harmless, my understanding is it's for a raised bed garden on the far side of the pond from your house. So this is, this pond is owned by several different residents, and the pond splits the properties, so in a lot of cases, they own property on the far side of the pond. So the diagram I saw, this garden is in the easement, but well out of our way for ever having to do maintenance to the pond.
It's approximately 75 feet away from where like the drainage pipe is between the two ponds. So our backyard, we have a little snippet of a pond to our right, but for the most part, it's just property that goes all the way back to like a railroad bed. So the raised bed garden we're proposing is about 75 feet away from the drainage pipe that goes between the two ponds. It's about 75 feet back from there. And we could adjust that if it's, something where you guys were advising to move it in a direction, one direction or another. It doesn't matter to us, but there's just flower beds.
I don't have any questions. Board members, any questions?
No questions? No.
I'm just glad you're, this type of rain occurrence is what keeps you up at night?
Yes.
Well, we have no questions. We actually have, you have the map?
Yep.
Not that we want to, thank you.
Yeah, 75 feet from the drain pipe.
Okay.
And it already has been looked at in the resolution. It says that it's been looked over by the engineers and the town and all that.
Okay. So do you want to make Lori wait until the rain subsides and we'll come to that resolution, or do the resolution now and send her out to her car? But
We can do it now.
Roxy, what we're going to do is we're going to move to resolution number 6.
Okay.
This is the license and hold harmless agreement, 1186 Louise Way, to allow the encroachment into drainage easements.
So moved.
Second.
Offered by Councilman Cusimano, Councilman Guinan on the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, resolution number 6.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And you can stay. You don't have to run out. Okay. Back in your packet, public comments and concerns. Opportunity for members of the public to address the town board. Okay. In your packet, we have the report from our highway department. IT, Victor Ambulance, Victor Farmington Ambulance, Victor Fire District. Any questions on any of those reports? I do have a few items I want to share with you. Victor Hiking Trails, as mentioned, with their anniversary, 30 years, they have invited Casey Page to actually put together a booth for the transfer station to certainly continue to navigate the number of great programs that we're running through the transfer station. So anticipate seeing Casey there on the 4th of June. At your place setting, I left you a code for illegal dumping. What we found outside the town property outside the transfer station, the recent one was another large TV, computer screens, things of that nature. So Casey getting a little frustrated because it costs us money to discard of someone else's issues. So I'm looking for some, your thoughts. I'm contemplating putting additional signage maybe out there, security camera out there. And that's why I also added the code as well. So take a look at the code. First of all, do you have any interest in investing in a camera outside there? Mark, how often would you say this happens? I mean, I know this, Casey said it just within the last couple of months we've seen it.
Doesn't seem to happen very often, but there are times.
Mark, do you have any idea what the estimated cost would be just to add a camera that would look at that area?
I didn't bring that information with me tonight. I know Susie put something together, sent it over to us. I don't want to say for sure, Drew, right now, without looking.
I'd like to know what it costs first, obviously, but I think that it is a super frustrating. I've talked to Casey about it. It's super frustrating, and I think just in general, I think, this time of year especially, before the grass has grown, there's tremendous amount of roadside waste, right? I mean, we see it all over the place. As I drive along, I'll stop and I pick stuff up and, plastic or whatever, and if I see something that bothers me, and I pick it up. I called the school last week because Lane Road was filled with construction debris from the bus garage up there, all over Lane Road. And so I called Chris Marshall, and I said, Chris, that's not the town, that's not people littering, that's construction. Send a couple guys over. I didn't think he'd respond to it, but the next day it was, somebody had gone over there to send a couple of construction guys over, just picked up wrapping and paper and, junk that had blown over there. But I definitely think that most people are good. I think most people adhere to the e-waste, and, if they can store something or save it, they try to save their electronics until that kind of stuff. I don't see a lot of that kind of stuff, but every once in a while, you'll see something that somebody's gotten mad and thrown off the side of the truck or the car, and it's in the ditch or something like that. But I'd like to see a cost on it, and if it's not terribly expensive, it might be worth putting one up.
Okay, we'll get the cost. In
Yeah,
the
that'd be
meantime, I
great.
hope,
Now, in this specific instance that we're
Yes.
talking about, where was it left? Just outside the gate, or? So on Rawson Road, basically?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they get mad because they go through, and then the guys will say, we can't take that.
Yeah.
What do you mean you can't take it? Well, then they come back after hours and,
well, speaking of roadside cleanup, again, Casey, being Casey, just very proactive. She had sent an email to Greg Tross with the New York State DOT, and last Friday morning, I did send an email to the state, to Greg, and also two of his bosses, because I saw 6 New York State DOT trucks along Route 96 and at least 9 or 10 employees with bags picking up all along there. So that was great to see. In addition, I've talked to our Wellness Committee lead here, and Casey had recommended maybe next year on Earth Day, we could do something with our employees, and so that's something, we're going to have a wellness initiative next year. I did reach out to Sheriff Pavro, because years ago, we used to have our details from the correctional facility do this. Because we are short-staffed, he has done away with that, but we're close to being at full staff again. And the sheriff's thoughts were, as soon as we get that our numbers up, the inmate work detail will continue again, so that will assist us as well. So we're not alone with that by any means.
the other thing, Supervisor Marin, I will do for you on behalf of the town is I'll reach out to the school, because C's Club pulled out. They used to have Adopt the Highway, like you said in your email, but there's a lot of organizations up there, and in fact, sports teams, coaches are promoting, community service, that type of stuff. I mean, you get, 8, 10 guys out there, we could coordinate to get the garbage bags and through Mark.
Casey could assist you with that through the DOT.
You
Yep.
get 8, 10 kids out there and a supervisor, they can pick up quite a bit of stuff, and the kids seem to enjoy that on a Saturday morning sometimes.
Okay, next item I had, I wanted to recognize one of our own, Councilman Kuzumano, was recently appointed to a one-year term on the Ontario County Emergency Medical Services Advisory Board. So, thank you, sir. Number 6, let's see, New York State open meeting laws on the expansion of video conferencing. The county's moving the process of starting to pass a resolution, have written procedures developed, and then hold a public hearing on this. So Frank, I don't know if you've heard anything. This is on the video. I'll give you this. This is.
No, I haven't heard about the video, but I've heard about the continuation of remote.
Yes, and I think our,
Remote meetings or meetings by remote.
yes. So there may be, and again, under the executive order, but I think this may be above and beyond, but I don't have more for you.
Is there anything that we need to worry about currently? Because like the Conservation Board's still meeting by Zoom.
They, according to what the county has said, we are good until, no, we had less than that. Then permanent date of let's see, I think it's July of this year, so we're still good for a couple more.
Okay, and they would prefer to
I
stay
think
that
the
way,
next
just
2 months.
FYI. Yep.
Okay, so you may see some, again, as a heads up. Again, I sent out some information. Councilman Kohovic asked a question earlier. There was an email sent out by IT regarding the Veterans Room projector removal. And I apologize for not giving you that before. You read it in the email. But we've had some, over a number of years, going back to 2014 was the first time brought forth by employees about the excessive noise. We've looked into putting, number of things. Again, I sent all the information.
This is the air handler over Kathy's office?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've been in that office when that air conditioner's on, it's not pleasant. We've even gone as far as looking to see what it costs to take that roof site, bring it down below, so, pretty expensive. So,
Is there any issue with the adjoining offices, or are they okay?
the zoning, yeah, that's fine. It's all on that roof.
Right above.
Yeah, I was, in fact, we haven't had too many warm days, but I was in there recently, and I said, what is that noise? She said, you're kidding me, right? So, is that the air conditioner? She said, yeah. So, but please read all the information, and if you have any other questions, feel free to, I know Al Benedict's been involved with that, as well as HR, but, when you get something brought to your attention, we have to act, especially when it comes to maybe the health and well-being of individuals. So, let's see, next, board members, from our town assessor, I'm going to share with you a link that she could, I want you to review it, and then if you're fine with it, we'll put it on our town's website. This is about the whole assessment process. Remember we talked about that recently, we're not moving forward with a townwide assessment this year, but our efforts to try to communicate and educate the public is very important. So I will share that with you, and then certainly if that's something you feel warranted to be on the website, we will do that. Next item I want to mention, a lot of communication, a lot of yes, no, on this whole public library, Farmington Victor Library. There's 4 different types of libraries. There's the association library, which this one is. There's a municipal public library, a school district public library, and then a special district public library. And the reason I bring up that this is an association library, I had individuals tell me that these people cannot be making, that they're not elected officials, they shouldn't be making those decisions. Well, under the association, they could be appointed, and they're appointed by the body of individuals who have been appointing one another for many, many years. I did have a conference call with the director and a few board members earlier today, because they have a public meeting tomorrow night. They're looking for some advice on that, and one of the advices I gave them was that there'll be some form of law enforcement present at that meeting tomorrow night, so, as well.
Is that going to be here?
No, I mentioned, I said, what's your space? Because you may, if you have a standing room only, then you get angry folks. I've lived through that as well. There's not enough seats for us, and we got to stand, so they were not willing to change venues, so they're going to host at their own building. Last month, they only had 3 individuals, but of course, you see more and more signage out there, and thank you all for the support. The library was very understanding when we declined their invitation to put vote yes signs on our town parks. As I said to you, I think all of us, we have a willingness to educate the public that just get out and vote, regardless of your feelings. And my conversations with them, if they wanted to put some type of educational signs, get out there and vote on May 18th or whatever, then so do it. That's fine with that. The final item, the CDC now urges masks in 23 New York counties due to high COVID rates, or coming back, levels, and we qualify, so we'll leave it at that. We've worked hard for that. Okay, board members, you have any reports you care to, or committees involved with you want to report on? Hearing none, we'll move to the resolutions. We have resolutions number 1. This is the acceptance of a community development block grant awarded through the New York State Office of Community Renewal. I have asked Councilman Kohovic, who's a member of this committee, if he would provide an overview of number 1 and number 2.
Yeah, we've had actually a committee group meet several times. The committee itself is myself, Kathy, Rich, Elizabeth Beeler, who's on the LDC, and Mike Colquitt from Labella has helped us with the grant information. Basically, there's a pile of money that's been awarded to us of $500,000 that businesses in town could apply for basically COVID relief. The max award's $35,000 per business or per individual. One of the things that's been happening throughout this is that New York State continues to change what the requirements are or what they're allowing to be claimed. So originally when it came out, it was certain things, and then they added later back rent payments for leased properties that came after the fact. So it's been kind of an evolving thing as we went through it. But we've stayed on top of it. We have been going through the reports. Michael's been very helpful. And we're at a point where we've actually made several decisions to grant amounts, and that's going to be in the second resolution. But because we make the decision, all it says is that we're sending it to New York State saying that these qualify as far as we're concerned. Then New York State comes back and says, okay, yay or nay, basically. But we've gone through this process. We have a couple binders full of information for each of the people that have applied. There was quite a few applied. Some people did not go and complete the process. It was a first come, first served. So whoever got their stuff in and got it completed first was basically put at the top of the list. And if you came late to the party, so to speak, unfortunately, you're further down the list. So the people that did their due diligence, that followed up, that filled out all the paperwork that was required, that did all the application process, moved to the top. The first resolution that you're going to see here is basically setting aside an account. Rich is going to kind of monitor that to distribute the funds. It'll be separate from the budget. Okay, this is just to allow him to create this account line for the distribution. So that's the first one. And the second one is actually the businesses that we are proposing to New York State to say, Town of Victor has reviewed these, we feel they qualify, we'd like to proceed. So the second one, there are 9 applicants that we feel have met all the requirements as far as we're concerned. Each one, we'd like to award the full $35,000 grant, again, upon final approval. And the ones that are included in those 9, Apparel Printers Plus, A&E Gifts and Clothing, Tamby Self Storage, Twin Elder Brewery, Bistro 11, Group Tours, Victor Music Experience, Breathe Yoga, and Sweet Basil. And there's still others that are in the queue, and if they come back and finish all the stuff and the requirements, then we'll look at them again. So that's kind of where we're at. So that's why we have the 2 resolutions. The first one, resolution number 1, is to create this account so that we can disperse the funds. And the second one is that we're approving these 9 applicants to go forward.
Was the $35,000 threshold, was that a state thing, or is that something that you guys decided on
no.
as a committee, that state was the max you could give out?
Correct.
So the $185,000 left could go to other applicants? Is there a deadline for them to get the
Well,
other
the funds
application?
have to be dispersed, Rich, is at the end October?
October 31st.
October 31st.
Okay, of this year,
So it's a very tight timeframe.
yeah.
And if they, want to participate, they're going to get their stuff in. We've been in contact with them, various different ways, whether it's email, phone conversations, whatever. Michael's followed up, Kathy's followed up, so the people that have expressed an interest and have been informed about it, and been talking about it, it's up to them to then
Yeah,
provide the information.
they got to demonstrate that
Correct.
COVID hurt them,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, they have to demonstrate that.
But again, it's not hard when you think about, when they start talking about back rent.
Yeah.
Okay, you were shut down, you could not open. Or if you did anything like, I had to buy gloves and masks and those types of things, or I had to do something in the facility because we had to keep that 6-foot distance. So anything like that that you can verify with receipts, I paid, $1,000 in gloves, $1,000 in masks, I did this. Here's my rent for the period that I'm a restaurant and I was shut down, or I'm a gym, or I'm any of those places where you were not able to be open. You weren't allowed to, right?
Right.
So the back rent, in most cases, the back rent covers most of that 35, if you think about it.
Sure.
You know, in a lot of cases. But every bit of information that you can give just solidifies the case even more. So, you know, it's good to see us be able to help the local businesses
Absolutely.
kind of recover still. They're still in the recovery phase. You know, a lot of them, I think, you know, it was tough for a lot of businesses, especially these little businesses on Main Street, when you think most of these are, not all, but most. And to be able to help them kind of recover and take a step and take a breath is super important. So we can get them back on, you know, level footing.
Were there any applications that came in that were like, no, you guys you don't qualify?
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, there's
Right.
always,
Right. So you had a few of those, right?
yeah. And there's a few that, you know, they're not complete yet, but we may give not the full 35.
Right.
Where, based on what the information they provided us, we don't see it being justified to just give them $35,000. Maybe, you know, what they can provide in information, maybe it's only 10,000 or 15 or whatever. And yeah, we'd like to help as many people as possible. But again, a lot of it, they have to help themselves first by completing the application, following through with their due diligence. Because believe me, we want to give the money away. I mean, it's free money, you know, so. But I
thank you.
think that the committee's done a good job.
Thank you for your efforts.
Great, yeah, thank you, absolutely, great overview, and again, thanks to the committee. So, Councilman, it sounds like you were offering to block both A1 and 2?
If nobody has an objection,
Any objection to blocking resolutions 1 and 2?
No objection.
Okay. We have
I
a
will make
second.
that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Councilman Kohovic offered resolutions 1 and 2.
Condon, second.
1 and 2, and all those in favor was unanimous. Okay, you good? Okay. Number 3 is amending the resolution 103-2022, purchase of the 21 Ford F-250. And again, there's a slight change in the cost going in a different direction.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Kohovic.
Resolution number 4, purchase a new fleet maintenance system. This is through Auto Assist LLC. This would help the Highway Department. Questions for Mark?
What does it do for you, Mark?
You're able to document all of our equipment. You have very basic.
I know,
This will upgrade it, meaning of,
Plus it costs.
Councilman Cusimano, did you?
I know Mark and certainly Councilman Guinan and I have spoken to you about, I believe, some stuff that related to this.
Yeah.
Do you think that, you know, with the system we'd be going with here, would that kind of meet the needs and help to improve the systems and services down there?
Yeah, definitely it will. So we have a very basic system right now. So this is going to help us document costs. We can keep better track of repairs on all the vehicles going forward. And if we're putting more money into a certain piece of equipment, it'll definitely show that, or we don't have that capability now, so.
Did you guys get a demo?
Yeah, we've
Is it
actually,
user-
we demoed this one that we're going with, so.
User-friendly?
Yep, yep.
So
very
there's
user-
no issue with staff using it?
Nope.
Okay,
nope,
good.
We've already downloaded all the equipment onto it, actually, it was a 2-week demo.
Okay.
So we put everything on it, and then the other two we looked at. This is the best one because this one allows us to be used by 4 users. The other was by equipment, so if you put all your equipment in there, it was gonna be very expensive, so. That's why we went with this one.
Thank you, Mark.
Yep.
Okay, no further questions. All those in favor?
I'll move first.
Oh, okay. All those in favor?
Guinan.
Number 5, amending the resolution number 140. This is the award of bid for the Raccoon Run. An error was made in the listing of the project name. Award of bid should be Raccoon Run / Deer Crossing Road Rehabilitation Project.
So moved. Second.
Councilman Kuzamano,
Kohovic.
Kohovic on the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution is approved. Number 6, we took action earlier. Number 7 is a letter of credit for Piper Meadows subdivision release number 9.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Condon on the first, Councilman
Cusimano.
Cusimano on the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution number 7 is approved. Number 8, letter of credit, Southgate Hills 2 subdivision grading only, and this is release number 1.
So moved, Kuzimano.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolutions is approved. Public comment, opportunity for members of the public to address the town board. And again, board member C. Roxy, before your way out to sign the abstract. Suzie, any public comment? Okay, that said, motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Guinan, Councilman Kohovic, all those in favor?
Aye.